for all of you for coming in for this and for arranging for this, and my most sincere apologies that I am talking to you remotely. I was incredibly humbled yesterday early evening when I got to the airport in Little Rock, Arkansas, and handed my driver's license for the ticket, and she said, "And your passport, please?" Oh my God, I forgot my passport. And then I started calling FedEx and you name it, and Deb and I were talking, could I get to Seattle, and could I get sent in somehow? And the funny part, the most important part about this story for me is that I kept calling myself an idiot. I said, I'm such an idiot, I can't believe what an idiot I am. And the woman behind the desk said, after about 20 minutes of this, I will confess I was also crying a little bit. She looked at me and she said, now remember this is southern United States, right, Little Rock, Arkansas. She said, excuse me, ma'am. She goes, I know you made a mistake, but you don't look like no idiot to me. Someone is coming, you usually get things done, and maybe you just made a mistake like the rest of us. I took a deep breath and I went, yeah, I guess that's what happened, and you can imagine how stupid I felt. And given these days of immigration and all the rest, there was no way of working around anything. So here I am with you virtually, and but I will be coming again, as promised, and I hope to see some of you in person, some of you for the second time, and some of you meeting for the first time. So Deb asked me to give you a little bit about HIPPY International. So I've prepared, and I hope all this technology works, but I've prepared some pictures to show you, a few videos to show you, and to talk to you, and give you a little bit of a little history and a little survey of the programs around the country, and then maybe tell you about some new projects that are happening with HIPPY International. And I'll present for a little while, and then be happy to open it up to your thoughts and comments and questions and ideas and whatever you feel like sharing. So I'm sure many of you know that this is a program that was originally developed in Israel. And it was developed in Israel a long time ago. We used to say a long time ago, and as the years move on, it's a really long time ago. In the late 60s and early 70s, by a brilliant woman named Dr. Eva Lombard. And she created a program based on her experience working in early childhood centers and finding that children were coming into the centers with different abilities and different interests and different awarenesses to be able to engage in what was available in the center, with the materials, with the people, with the books. And she did some research on this, and she decided that the real way to bridge the gap between those children who walked into the classroom ready to engage and start learning and trying and playing, and those children who came in without that same attitude and motivation and understanding of how to engage in the classroom. But the way to intervene there was really earlier and in the home. So she started developing trying out little activities and little projects, and that's how the original program of HIPPY really got started. And it was a program designed to bridge the gap of immigrants coming to Israel from many different countries with many different educational backgrounds. And so I'm actually going to start with a short, this is our first effort here, a short video from the founder. This is a video of Eva Lombard. This is a 7-minute video. And you'll get to meet her a little bit, hear a little bit about her thinking. Here we go. Okay.
idea is to help parents assume a different attitude to themselves as home educators. They don't think that teaching a child how to eat, how to dress, how to behave, all those things is education per se. Education is what happens in the school. And they send kids to school to be educated.
HIPPY makes these mothers understand they can actually teach their children, they can be positive role models as mothers.
HIPPY. It originated in Israel and found its way around the world. It even reached New Zealand 6 years ago. It's being trialled in Fitzroy, and though HIPPY is pretty much mainstream these days, it gets to parents who may themselves be on the fringe.
I came to this country to have a better life, to live in a peaceful country. And HIPPY opens the door for us because when you know how to operate and when you know the system, then it changes your life.
One program that is working in several states is aimed at giving children a head start on their education at home.
When Beverly Sheard entered kindergarten this year, she already had a leg up on learning. That's because for the past year, her mother has been spending 20 minutes a day teaching her to count, recognize shapes, and name colors.
Which one of these gets a lot of math? Which one?
It's called HIPPY, a home instruction program designed to help low-income and educationally disadvantaged families in Arkansas get a better start at school.
Well, it's very exciting, and the results are absolutely indisputable. The children's learning capacity goes way up for readiness to start kindergarten. It's dramatically high.
The HIPPY process is a home tutor will come out to your home once a fortnight. We deliver the program, we go through it with you, we give you all the materials, we role play the scenario so that you get an idea of how to do it with your own child.
The system works. The parents will do the activity because they like it. The children will do the activity because it's age-appropriate and stimulating and fun. And the kids learn.
Children who have done the HIPPY program have improved learning outcomes, they're better in English and in maths.
Genau hier setzt HIPPY ein interkulturelles Ausbildungsprogramm für Eltern mit Kindern im Vorschulalter zwischen 3 und 6 Jahren mit dem Ziel der frühen Förderung. HIPPY bereitet die Kinder auf die Schule vor, schafft Zukunftschancen und erleichtert Integration und gesellschaftliche Anerkennung.
Preschool enrichment is important for determining later school success. And with the lack of state-provided preschool education, obviously a cheaper alternative is to have a home-based education program.
If a house having got a foundation, it will create a form. So really, HIPPY is a good foundation.
HIPPY's success is its incredible simplicity. It relies on the person the child knows and trusts best, the parent, to teach the preschooler. Because the program happens in the home, the child gets individual attention. The parent begins to support his education, the learning process even becomes a two-way street.
The deaf children, you can't pre-plan for them. They're babies. You can't say to a child, you're going to now play with the ball and do this with it. That kid's going to take that ball wherever she wants it to. But you can say to parents, ball playing is an important activity for children. Look at the kinds of things we can do with balls.
I tracked her down in Jerusalem, in her office, at Hebrew University. I said, is this Dr. Lombard? Yes, she said. I said, well, my name is Hillary Clinton, and my husband is the governor of Arkansas. The what? Well, I was just down down in Florida, and I read about this program that tries to help parents be better parents for their children, and that's the thing that I believe in most about what we need to do for our kids. And, I was sort of hoping to learn a little bit more about it so that perhaps we could work on it in Arkansas. But I have no idea where Arkansas is. Is it near Texas? I know I'm not completed this. Eva said, well, if you want to train these people to be the first cadre of HIPPY trainers, they got to come to Israel. And you got to have people who are going to be able to communicate with the mothers. I want real mothers from the community who can go back and talk to the mothers. Well, that sounds like a reasonable idea. But I want to talk to a lot of my mothers from the community. They said, Israel, where is Israel? Well, that's what Dr. Lombard said. After me, the question, I was convinced that was Moses,
My kids love the activities. They nag me to do every day. They'll go get their box and they'll say, can we do HIPPY now, Mum? Can we do HIPPY now, Mum? And even when the day's activities was over, they'd still want to continue.
Basically, the model for both programs is success. There's no sense doing something if you're not striving for success. And we want to be successful. I want each mother to be a successful teacher, each home visitor to be a successful home visitor, each coordinator, each person along the line to have success. In order to do that, we have to plan carefully, and we have to build in stepping stones and support systems to provide them with the opportunities for success and to catch them as they trip a little bit here and there, not that far.
We've got fun numbers.
Okay, thanks for the text support there. So that was an introduction to Avima, Dr. Avima Lombard. Actually now among the international network of HIPPY directors around the world. It's only Debbie and I who have had the great fortune of working with Avima directly. Debbie, do you want to add anything from watching that? Any reactions or?
No. It's very emotional.
Yeah. So, I think it's always important. It was a long time ago, and there's so much that's going on now, but I think it's always important to remind ourselves where we started, and really all the work that we do, and all the development and great activities that are happening around the world now, and you'll hear about some of that right now, really started with this vision and passion and genius of this woman. So I want to honor her in that way. So when Avima first started doing her work in Israel, she was working out of a center, it was referenced in the video, called the Research Institute for Innovation in Education. And that's a research center at HIPPY University. And that center was sponsored by the National Council of Jerusalem. Some of you may have had some connections with the National Council of Jewish Women in Canada, but it was sponsored by the NCW, National Council of Jewish Women in the United States. And the women who were on the board of the Israeli Institute would often talk to one another and say, wouldn't it be great if we could bring this program back home to the United States? We really need this program in the United States just as much as they need it in Israel. And it was over several years that a Ford Foundation grant, small Ford Foundation grant, gave Avima the opportunity to come to the United States, work under the auspices of the National Council of Jewish Women, to try to look at opportunities to start some pilot programs in the U.S. And at the same time, similar connections were happening in South Africa, also there through the Union of Jewish Women, and Holland. In Holland, it was through the Ministry of Social Welfare that learned about the program in Israel. The minister who learned about it and wanted to bring the program to Holland, the Netherlands. And so these three countries started to develop the first outreach of the program from Israel to other countries. And Avima traveled all over. I don't think she ever forgot her passport. And she traveled all over and was the training for every coordinator, every home visitor in those countries. And once a year, she would bring new coordinators to Israel. So in order to start a program, a local program in those early days, you have to take a trip to Israel, to Jerusalem, and spend 10 days at HIPPY University. I know many people wish that that were still a requirement for starting a local program. It became a little unfeasible as programs started to grow in terms of budget, but it wasn't a really amazing experience because people would meet from all over the world who otherwise probably would never have had an opportunity to meet. And so every year there was the HIPPY International Workshop, and everybody would sit around a big table and role play for about 5 days until Avima thought you got it right. Let me tell you, I hear you laugh real loud. That was not easy. Getting it right with the people was not easy. You had to, to repeat the right answer, and you would do it again, and you would do it again. And she was really she was a stickler for a really very highly articulated, very structured model. And there was no variation on curriculum. Everyone used the exact same curriculum that was developed in Israel. So that was in the very early days. And then the next group of programs that started to evolve was yours, Kara, and Debbie can fill in the story about how it came to Canada later, and New Zealand, and Australia, and Germany. And in these programs, she started to develop a little bit of a wider net. People were still required to go to Israel for training, but it started to become less feasible because she was looking for other structures. I remember when I was the first director of HIPPY in the United States, and that's how I got involved with HIPPY. And she said, well, you can do some training in the U.S., but I'm going to come and watch. When we had our training, it was in New Orleans. I'll never forget that center, and I've never sweated so much in my entire life because she was in every room watching and taking notes and giving you feedback afterwards. And so I say that partly in jest, and there is something kind of humorous about it. But I also believe that there is a kernel of what HIPPY is, a core of what HIPPY is that she really was determined to maintain, and I do believe I don't have empirical evidence, but I do believe that that is why HIPPY has been so successful for so many years, and still exists today. With so much similarity and such high model fidelity, program fidelity in so many countries around the world. There's some variations on the model that I want to show you. That you can see my screen now.
Yes.
Yeah. You see these 5 essential features of HIPPY?
Yes.
Can You'll recognize them, right? There's role play up here. They use a 2-year curriculum. Parents and the carers and home tutors, and the broader term for parents, and home visits and parents with meetings. But this is the Australian Aboriginal description of the program. And in the middle you have everywhere learning. And it's one of the examples that I really love the most about how those core components of home visits, group meetings, role play, basic curriculum, parents from the community serving as home visitors can be maintained and yet adapted in such significant different cultural contexts. So actually this was, I'm still trying to track down the artist who did this because I would love to use this in even more broadly. But I just think it depicts the sameness and the variation in a really, really lovely way. So the other one that I wanted to show you, I can do that. Okay, so HIPPY in Australia is actually a program that, I'll get to this in a moment, but HIPPY in Australia is a program that is primarily government funded. They receive funding through the Ministry of Social Welfare, and they support the programs around the country, and it's about 50% with Australian, with Aboriginal Australians, and then the other with a whole range of immigrants, European Australians, and others. And it's housed in an organization that is a large child welfare organization. It's also interesting that in each country, HIPPY is kind of the national center HIPPY is housed in a slightly different context. So that's HIPPY in Australia. HIPPY in Germany is a program that's It's a program that started 20-some years ago, and is now part of an organization called Impulse. And as I scroll down, you'll see that it's here. It's one of 8 different programs that they run. Some for the Australian baby is for younger parents with younger children, a 3-year-old, a program for fathers, and they sort of wrapped around and developed this continuum of services and programs for families that is now quite has a national spread. And Aviva was involved very much in all of those early days. Then the program began to develop in other countries. Somewhere in there in 2000, 2001, spent a year at Eva University working with Aviva, and at the end of that year became the director of the HIPPY International Network. And spent my years since then really trying to build a network. And in that time, programs got started in Austria. In Austria, they work with many migrant families, and now also, like you, are working with refugee families, as they do in Germany. Also, many refugee families in Germany. Programs got started in Austria, in Argentina, and in Liberia. In Argentina, it was very interesting. It was a woman who had spent some time in Israel studying at the university, an Argentinian woman who went back to her country and always wanted to think about starting a program in Argentina, and then many years later found a funding source to get a project started. And I didn't do the initial training there because I don't speak Spanish, but I went there 2.5 days. We were just getting started. And a woman came up to me and said, I have a story to tell you. She said, I lived in Israel for many years, and I'm sorry, she's Argentinian, an Israeli-born Argentinian, and she said, I was born in Israel, and when I came to Argentina and I heard about this program that works with children and parents and their books and materials, I had to go look. And I couldn't believe that it was the same program that I had done with my mother as a child in Israel. And she said, when I moved from Israel go to Argentina, I was only allowed to take I only had to be able to take a small suitcase. But in that suitcase, I kept those hippie storybooks. And she said, you know, it's not because they were such great storybooks, but because it reminded me so much of the time, my special time, spending with my mom every day, and having that special one-on-one time. And it was such an impactful story all these years later that those memories of the parent-child bonding around these activities and these storytelling times that are just so powerful. One of the newest programs that is growing very rapidly is in Liberia, in West Africa. I know Wazi went to visit our program in South Africa, and we've got your eyes on you, Wazi, for doing some more work on the continent. But we have a really exciting program going now in Liberia that got started as a partnership between three organizations, a local NGO, Liberian NGO called the We Care Foundation, a group called Friends of Liberia. And Friends of Liberia is former Peace Corps volunteers. And they every year come up with, every couple of years, come up with a new project they want to do for Liberia. They raise the money for it. And this time they, a few years ago, found me because they wanted to start a program in Liberia. And I was there for the startup, and I do have another short video to show you from there about the start training, to give you a little bit of a flavor of what training in a very different context would be. And I'd love for you to look at it and think about what's familiar to you about the training and what's different of the training that you all do as officers. And I will send you the list, okay, rather than try to. Oh no. Hold on.
So both Wazi and I went to Israel at different times. I went first about 1999-ish, and then Wazi went
January 2000.
Yeah.
It was very moving, even on the for those 10 days. Was just amazing.
And then Abima came here several times.
Yes.
So just context, our first, and when you're ready to go, let me know. Our first HIPPY site was in Vancouver. The first HIPPY site in Canada was in Vancouver at Britannia Community Services Center, for those of you who don't know that. We got an amazing amount of money, actually, because it was a long time ago, to run a 4-year pilot. Started off with about 10 visitors. OCDs was there, was part of that. And in those early days, Abima came at least 5 times. We had meetings with different levels of government. We had meetings with school districts. Are you ready? Okay. School districts. And we had a very strong connection.
What's that?
Yeah.
I put my garden in. I put my garden out there. I shake it. I turn my back around. Down below. On a Friday night, I put my back in. I put my back out. I shake it, and I turn my back around. I don't think it. But it doesn't matter. I put my beer in me. Calling all the women, calling them to see mother. All right, woman, that's mama, come and save your child. Baby, it's really universe, Mother Nature's eyes. Come save your child. Come save your child. I said, come save us. Come and take back your child. This crazy world is breaking and burning, and needs your strength right away. Open your mouth. Yes, it's possible. Open your eyes. Where's God is? Will you come on that chair? No. But if we come on that cross, by clearing the picture with the word, it helps the child have the real understanding of words. We will read the book when thought are really good. You carry the world. This is my time.
We can hear you, yep.
Can you see me?
Just getting there.
Okay.
There we go.
Great, thanks so much. So, does it look familiar? Anything about it look familiar?
Yes.
Related to your poll.
But
Anybody your fault? Yeah. Anybody else? Anything look familiar?
Yeah, the books is the same, verse 5. The role play. What's the same?
Can you hear Miriam? Sports and activities and the role play?
Where is SWAT?
Where is Spot?
Yeah. Right. So, amazing, right? I mean, that's in Liberia. That's in Monrovia. Total different cultural environment, total different context, and that kernel of the HIPPY program is still incredibly operative and incredibly successful. So much so that the Ministry of Education in Liberia has now put HIPPY in as part of their strategic plan for the next 10 years in early childhood. So it's, and it was just starting from this kernel level pilot. Speaking of the kernel, what I told you, what Arima used to train, she used to train around, every aspect of the program and wanted to be done exactly right. And so one time I said, Arima, I think you could think about this HIPPY program as a rock inside the clay. So the rock is that core HIPPY model, and the clay is the things that have to change and adapt and adjust to the different contexts. And she said, yeah, I could see that. And then she came back a little while, maybe a few years later, and I was giving a talk, and I talked about a pebble in clay. And she said, Miriam, I noticed that the rock went to a pebble. And I said, yeah, because I really wanted to find, I want to be as clear as possible, what are the essentials in what makes HIPPY work? And what are the parts of it that we really can and have to adapt to different contexts? So she was a little less comfortable, but she nodded. And then the next time she heard me speak, I was talking about a grain of sand in clay. And she said, Miriam, you have gone way too far. Go back to the pebble. So we really do always, in every different country, struggle with that. But here, in Liberia, I have to say that the very structured nature of the program and the role playing and the weekly activities and everything being laid out so clearly is what makes it possible to do the program in the context of Liberia, where the literacy rates are very, very low. And, finding home visitors, you saw that there were an equal number of men and women home visitors. And first saw that, I said, wow, you got the men in the program. And they looked at me and said, no, the challenge was to find the women who had the literacy rate to be able to be home visitors in the program. Much higher literacy rates among men. So really interesting and different dynamics. We're starting in 2 new countries. We're going to be starting any day now in Chile. And we're working with a foundation of a paper mill company in Chile. And this paper mill company runs early child care centers throughout the country. But they're aware that in a center-based program, you're limited to the number of children that you can bring into the center, right? So depending on the context and the ratio requirements and all the rest, you could maybe even have 40 children or 50 children in the center. But if you bring in a home-based component along with it, you could reach hundreds more families. And so there are ideas to attach a HIPPY program to their different centers. And they're going to be, they've been to Argentina to observe, and we're going to set up the training for them in 3 weeks. So it's really happening right now. And the other big program is in Tonga. Tonga is the Pacific Islands, New Zealand part of the world. And our very long-term and wonderful colleague and friend Jane Hall, who's been with HIPPY for a very long time, just retired. And so she's going to do some training there. And we were supposed to start last month, but a tragedy happened, a cyclone went through the island and devastating damage to the island. And so we clearly have to wait till people can get their bearings and regroup. So that's the lay of the land of the programs in HIPPY International that are kind of what we call the classic HIPPY model program. And then we have a group of programs that we call HIPPY Inspired programs. So HIPPY Inspired started actually with a couple of people from Denmark concepts. There were the 3 guys from the Ministry of Social Development. And they asked to come to a couple of our meetings and really wanted to start HIPPY. And they had a lot of resources to start a program. And so when they looked at the curriculum and they said, well, we don't really want to start, we don't want to just translate this curriculum, we want to create our own Danish curriculum. And so we tried to see if we could do it together, working with us to sort of develop a HIPPY approach. And it really became too complicated, so we said, you know what, you want to do home visits, you want to look at groups and role playing as a methodology, but you want to develop your own curriculum. We're not going to call it a HIPPY program because I don't feel as confident in terms of how it develops and how it's built over time, but let's call it HIPPY Inspired and you can still be part of the network. And they did. And they were fully, I don't remember how much it was, but it was a lot of resources in the development of it. In the end, when the government stopped paying for it and the local municipalities had to take it over, it didn't last very long. I think there's only one small program with about 4 families left. But some folks in Finland learned about the program. And believe it or not, in Finland, the country known for its, highest success rates in education and, in early childhood, it's just, very progressive and successful country. Finland has a minority, a Swedish minority. It's a formal minority. There are 2 official languages in Finland. I did not know this until recently, Swedish and Finnish. And the Swedes consider themselves a language minority, and they wanted to bring HIPPY to work with Swedish families and some immigrants and families from other countries. So HIPPY operates in Finland out of a national organization that supports Swedish culture, health, education. And then some groups in Sweden learned that there was a program in Finland, but in Swedish, and then they took it, and that's in Malmö, in Sweden, which is a very multi-ethnic community. I think the last time we counted, there were 30 families and I think 27 different ethnicities. And so these countries, along with 2 historical countries that started with something that was really close to the classic HIPPY program, but then evolved into other things, so that the Netherlands that I mentioned earlier, and Turkey. Turkey has a program for mothers that has developed, but started as a training in Israel with the core of the HIPPY program. These cluster programs are what we now call HIPPY Inspired programs. And they're also part of our network. And then we have 2 programs in Asia. This is very new. So we have a program, can you see that?
Yep.
Can I see? We have a program in Korea, and the program in Korea is called Limud. Limud is Hebrew for learning. Turns out that in Korea, there's a lot of interest in educational programs that come out of Israel, and a lot of interest in Jewish traditional learning methods, dating way back to rabbinic days. I don't fully understand it, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but it seems to be a national phenomenon that programs, materials, books, learning strategies that have an Israeli or Jewish root are very popular right now. So a small education tech, startup tech company has brought HIPPY to Korea, and it's called Limud. And I'm going to see if this will work here. Okay. So here is Limud, and this is Limud C. So this is Limud directly for children. There's some activities, and then there's Limud before I showed you on this page earlier, T. So let's just look at this for a second. So you'll see, this is activities, or these are the materials that you need for the activities. These are the activity pages, right? This is the schedule. And if we scroll down, here, you see, this is language activities, math activities, and science activities taken right from the HIPPY curriculum. And we're actually looking in Korea to see if they're looking to see if there's a model that parents might actually purchase the program, and we're looking to see if we can develop a little bit of a social entrepreneurship model in Korea. The other one, here we go, the Lose Tea, that's the one that would be more like what, that the Lose Parent, more like the program that you know, like I think the Katie's saying. I don't think, does anyone ever read Korean? Let me know. Oh, here we go. Here are the five languages, five cognitive development areas. Interestingly, when we first started talking with the folks in Korea, they love the curriculum. They love the structure of it. They love the parent-child interaction. So the children are so going to school and they're so structured that they don't have that time for that kind of parent-child interaction. The parents don't really know what to do. So they're really excited to have these activities. And he said, we love the books and we love the games and we love the science activities and the cutting and the painting, all different activities. He said, the one thing he said, Dr. Westheimer, we're not so comfortable with it. We don't think your math is at a high enough level. And I said, yeah, I would imagine that in Korea you wouldn't communicate math. But we talked about, developmental, appropriateness for young children and pushing children a little bit too far. And we had to negotiate that one because they definitely feel that they need to do a bit more on the math. And in China, okay, I'm going to take you back to the HIPPY International Facebook page. And so here in China, what they're doing is they're trying to do a project, also eventually kind of fee for service type model, via social media. So what, we have Facebook, and the world often uses WhatsApp. There many of you are familiar with WhatsApp. In China, in Asia in general, there's something called WeChat, which is really the platform that's used the most. And so they send these materials to parents via WeChat, and the parents send the activities to the child. And I'll just show you a short clip. And I hope it works, and if not, I'll send the link, so let's just see. So they do these little activities with the child. But you couldn't hear the mother giving the instructions to the child, but it was in Chinese, so I don't know. And it was, she's telling the child what to do, and they cut out the footprints, and she's making that to use the footprints. I think that's going to be 3. So that's Korea and China. So before I tell you a little bit about some new projects or some new developments, just curious if you have any reactions or questions or thoughts.
And what about people who are online with us? Feel free, if you've got a question as well, to let us know or put it in the chat box. That was your invitation. Questions?
Or just thoughts or impressions?
Could you tell us again that you were talking about the librarian program, and you were talking about, I believe you said 3 things that you felt were the essential elements that had to be in place for a HIPPY program. I think you said the structured nature of the program, and then the weekly visits and the role play. But did you not include the home visiting with that?
Yeah, I'm not sure I said 3. I was looking at that diagram, and they might have divided it differently. But it's definitely, it's role playing, it's a structured curriculum, it's home visits combined with some group interactions, and how that the original model was alternating weeks. So 1 week home visit, 1 week group meetings, and there's quite a bit of variation in that. But that there be regular home visits with some group interaction, and the home visitors being from the community, parents from the community.
Thank you.
Were you people aware that you're part of an international network?
Yep.
Yeah. Everybody knows that?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Good. Okay, well, once I didn't have a chance to talk to you ahead of time, and but with your permission, I'd like to show a little bit about the HIPPY
Sure.
that we're working on. That's okay?
Yep.
Okay. So, starting back in the 60s and 70s when, before there were fax machines, and we would, send materials around in, big paper packages, and use them for, and have the curriculum developed that way. We are now, obviously, in a very different age, and there was no question in our mind that we really need to think about how do we use technology and how do we use technology and social media both to really to promote HIPPY programs and to help develop them and make them more accessible. One of the problems that we have, particularly in developing countries, is the extensive use of paper and the cost of paper and the cost of reproducing all the materials. And then if you make a change in the material, then you have all that, curriculum you have to redo. Plus, the idea of developing something that has the potential to be global in reach. So, 4 countries are working together. Canada, one is the representative from Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the U.S. to develop a pilot for what we're calling HIPPY, electronic HIPPY. And I have a little case of it to show you. It's just a little mock-up, not actually the app. But the idea is that it works on a smartphone, and you have your, the child in the center, and you see around here, this is showing the progression to the, sorry, I'm not going to try to go back because I'm going to mess up. Well, around the circle, you have the progression to the year 1, year 2, year 3, and you put the child's name in. You put the child's name in, and if the child is a girl or a boy, and you could upload a picture if you want of your child and of yourself, all optional. And then you have the frame of the app. So we have these 5 categories. 2 are the ones that we're developing now. 2 we're developing now. Learning process. The learning process is the curriculum. That's what I'm going to show you. And outdoor activities is really more like extension activities, things you could do that move beyond the curriculum. Community is going to be a place where parents in the program can connect with one another. We can do it globally. We can do it home visitor, just communicating information to her group of parents, a coordinator to her group of home visitors and parents, any level, any area we want. Just in terms of the glossary that we use of all the skills and developmental aspects of the program, and progress reports so that parents see progress, and home visitors can see the different levels of progress, and coordinators. So let me just show you an example of the activity. So here you have the 5 learning domains: literacy, math, science, motor, and language. And I'll open one of them. So you have a literacy activity, activity 1. And the first thing you have is what will Emma develop with this activity. So enjoyment of reading. And you could just look at the 4 categories, or you could open them up and get more information about them. Knowledge of books, story comprehension, and emotional development. And then that's exciting. Go on. And then you have a page that shows you what kind of materials you're going to need for the activity. So you're going to need the book and activity sheet. It's not a paperless. Our goal is not to have a paperless curriculum, but to have what's called blended learning. So we'll have some books. We will always have the storybook. We will have some material information on the phone and some on paper. And we're going to need crayons and a comfortable spot to sit next to your child. And then we actually have the activity. So this will look familiar to you. This book is sometimes big, sometimes small. You can see the cover of it. together the cover of the book. What do you think this book is about? And if you want the potential answer, it's right there. Boy and the giraffe. Who is bigger, the boy or the giraffe? What's the title of the book? The book is called Sometimes Big, Sometimes Small. Right? It's the whole activity that I'm sure is very familiar to you. And here's another activity with a different book. Oh no, but this is the back of that same book, the back cover. You know, the small big activities that I know you're very familiar with. More activities. Here you have little icons. If the parent doesn't want to put in a picture of the child, the parent can use that little icon. And here's an activity sheet. I'm sure you have to make small dummies. Today I'd like you to draw a picture of yourself as a big girl. Now draw a picture of something next to you that's small. And that will be on physical paper. Right? And then here are some nice extension activities that you have in the curriculum too. So let's play and let's draw. And then there's a closure activity at the end of each activity, just a simple question, because that's how we know the parents that the parent went through the task and activity. So there's another one, there's a science one, but I'm not going to show you that one now. I'm just going to ask what your reaction is to that.
Yes. Actually, when we went to our home visit, we got that like last year, right? Last year, and most of the moms that I work with, they don't really like that online one. They wanted a hard copy instead. That's the feedback I get from my families.
And that will always be. That will always be though.
I think it's like I guess it's gonna be a pilot for a specific group of parents, because like there are a lot of parents that they don't know how to use a smartphone. So I think they will need to focus on another kind of skills, and even the economic, because sometimes maybe they have a smartphone but they don't have a lot of data or space on their phone. So if the app is going to be very heavy, it will take a lot of space in the phone, and then they won't be able to do it. So that's a little thing that they
Absolutely, those are important. Yes.
I think this program is getting to confuse the child with the mom. They won't have that bond to sit and do works on paper and get the interaction between both of them. The mom will keep looking at the phone, checking what's the question, then she will ask the child. The families that I went, they didn't like it because they keep saying, the child is saying that you are busy with your phone, you're not with me. So they don't have that nice sitting with the books, with papers, and to have their own time. They are going between the phone and the child. So they lost their self in between. They didn't like it.
Can I, in our LINK program, one of the things we are interested in, though, is digital literacy. It's because Canada is such a digitally literate society. And we do have students who don't know how to use smartphones or don't know how to use computers. And that will hold them back at a certain level if they don't start to learn to use those and start to learn to use them appropriately. So when to be using the phone and when not to be using the phone. So maybe that's something for our team to kind of think about. You know, that kind of app. I found that really quite fascinating looking at that app. Maybe it's not something that would be for every part of the program, but it certainly could be something that we think about in terms of digital literacy and language component. That might be something interesting for us to think about, because certainly we know our LINK students, if they don't start gaining digital literacy skills, at a certain point they get held back because there's just so much that is available online that if they can't start accessing it, they end up getting blocked. So I find this very interesting.
I think it's very interesting, that's right, and they really need to learn some of the digital training and going into the digital things, because we are going forward, not backward. But with the child, you want to make a bond.
Of course.
So if you are sitting with electronic things with the child, they are very easy distracted.
Yes.
With the electronic, they will get very hyper. They won't sit and get the information from you. They want to focus on your phone, what you are reading, what you are seeing, what you are showing me on your phone, what you don't want me to see on your phone, and you are making yourself busy with me. So when I saw this program, it's very nice, but that will be like independently person will do it. Like for the kids at the school, they have the kids rise, they have some programs, they are doing the literacy, hearing, reading, and testing, even some writing. This is fabulous, it's very nice. But that will be for the kids who has like the beginning of writing. But with the mom who we are want to make the bond with the child, we need all her time, all her concentration, all her focus on the child at that time. So for my point of view, I highly recommend to have the child with the mom by themselves without anything involved. Even with some activities that low, high voice, we see the child will get distracted. They want to keep having the phone. They want to keep having that electronic thing that they are increasing and decreasing the sound with it. So if it will be on the program like that, I think that child will get, we will miss the main point of bonding. We will have other points, but the bonding, I don't think that will be from the points.
Thank you. And I saw Wazi had her hand up.
And Lucy,
Okay.
you want to go first? Yeah.
Sure. This is my first time I see it, and I am like dropping, yeah, because wow, how far we have come, or and I think depends on the different group of people that we're working with. I can imagine. I'm just imagining the young mothers, how exciting they would be with this kind of the program coming electronically this way. Because I do work with older women, but I work with a lot of young women, and a lot of them, first thing they say, oh, can you send it to my phone? Do you have it electronically so I can have it on my phone or on my computer? So they are from this generation, the newer generation, and I think that I think it will be. This is again, I haven't tried it, but for the younger generation, I think it will be very impacted. I have an experience in one of my group meetings. I brought a librarian who taught the children how to do some activities electronic with tablet.
Yeah.
With a tablet. And it was so interactive, even though they were using the tablet, but with the child, seeing the children and the parents, they're all, like everybody that were there in the group meeting, the parents, they were like, this is amazing, now we can use electronic and we can still have that interaction. Because they did, the activities were like reading a book or whatever, they were still being the child on the mom's lap, and they were doing the sounds or whatever they had to do together. And so it was, when I saw that, I can see how, even though I'm a little bit against electronics because I am from the past century, old school, and I have a hard time. But I can see the potential and how if they want to use it, if we teach them, if they have the right the right path or somebody to how to teach them right the way to do it. I can. This is just my again just imagining that they will have a good interaction with the child. Yeah, it's just like.
I'm just going to say briefly too. Well, I have to say that there will be always varying opinions about digital instruments that we use with our children. But I think what we also need to keep in mind, especially with our parents, is that digital media is already being used in schools. And I know that some schools actually, they give children tablets right from the beginning as they enter school in kindergarten. You know, all the lessons are in their tablet. So I think we really need to shift also our thinking and also our interactions with the parents, that we cannot run away from it. It is part of our future. The children will be exposed to it in school. And as we try more and more, everywhere really, to have less and less paper. I know, for instance, in some meetings that you cannot bring paper. You have to everything digitally because they say, yeah, it's a waste of resources, you know, to have paper. So I think, yes, there'll be those learning curves and those, you know, teaching, but I really like your idea as well of thinking about it for the English learning that.
Oh, and we have a comment from Sylvie in Toronto. It says, I totally agree with, sorry, my glasses. Can you see up there?
Cities, yeah.
Is mentioning it's a very cool app, and I believe that with the right growth of digital literacy, more and more parents and kids will enjoy using it.
So let me comment. Thank you all for your candid feedback. I really appreciate it. And let me say that the feedback you give in the room mirrors the debate in the early childhood community as well, with the use of you know, digital literacy, digital learning with young children. There are those that, you know, no screen, no how, no way, keep it out. And there are those that say, well, it's in our lives, let's find the best way to use the most appropriate. And you know, we're gonna take our time to pilot this and to watch it. But I do want to make it clear that the app is still it's an app for parents, just like our curriculum is written for parents, right? So when the parent is next to the child now, they sit with the curriculum and they read the instruction and then they do the activity with the child. And that is the same, only it's written in the app form. And some of the activities will still be paper-based, right? So there will always be the cutting and the pasting and the, you know, drawing and the lines, and that will still be on those smaller packets, the activity packets, like they always, for this first round in the pilot. In any case, we're trying it out. We're taking kind of a bold step. We're almost ready to prepare the pilot, and then we'll be trying it with a couple of sites, a few families. The numbers will be very small initially because there'll be a lot of hand holding just to get the technical side of it going. So we don't want to make it too labor intensive for that side, for that aspect. But we are going to try it, and we'll be eager to hear your very candid feedback as we gave it now. And then I wanted to show you one more project in development, also in the early stages, and then sum up. So we have on the HIPPY International website a research website. Here's the introduction. So the idea is that there'll be studies from the different countries listed down the front of the page. And then when you get into looking at the studies themselves, you'll be able to look at, pick one in particular because here we go. Here we go. Each study that's been done on HIPPY will be on the website in a searchable database. So if you're doing studies on immigrants or on Aboriginal or on refugees or on development of home visitors or on child language growth, you'll be able to search by topic. And each study has, you know, the title, the year. This one authored by Debbie and Bye-bye. You get the book. You can get a summary of the study. You'll have a list of the outcomes on that study, and even the gaps in the study, so that what the study itself is identified as the gaps in the research. So we're very excited about this as a potential tool for researchers and for new program development. At the moment we have, I think there's 300 studies on that listed there. And it's open to anybody. You can take a look at it if you like, research.org. It will be linked to the international website very soon. So that's a little survey of HIPPY International with a little glimpse of some of our new projects. And I thought I would leave you with a little inspirational video that,
Hi, my name is Leroy Butler. I'm from Sarasota, Florida. I actually graduated from Boca Middle School and Boca High School. I went on to college on a football scholarship to Lafayette College in Easton, Pennsylvania. And I'm now currently a teacher at Boca Middle School and a football coach at Boca High School, as well as an United Way employee. But that's not where my journey started. It started to a team mother in the housing project in Sarasota County. I would never forget it. In that housing project, there's a United Way funded HIPPY literacy program. The HIPPY program provided me with the opportunity to get a head start on my education. Having that head start on my education really played a positive role in my life and my interaction as far as school. Because if you're good at something, naturally you're going to enjoy it. I remember sitting in the classroom at Lafayette College and a young lady said, I don't see the point of helping you, especially people who are less fortunate when it comes to capital and resources. Hey, my mom had no sugar 14. That's the big murder. Yeah, I'm sitting in the same classroom as you. People are capable. All people are capable. Take care of each other, and that's why you help. You help, so I leave it about the lady out of the situation. We take it for granted how often kids aren't getting told the right thing to do. Having somebody there saying, hey, you're great. Hey, you're somebody. Or the driving factors and bringing you back to give back and do out. And I came back to tell every kid, every child, every youth, the impact of every person's life. I'm very grateful for my mom, and I'm very grateful for the United Way and the people. So when the opportunity came up for me to help out with the research center in my community, I signed up, signed me up. I'm excited. I don't even see it as a job. I'm doing something I love to do. If you ever in town, come check it out. I'll be in there, smile. So.
okay. Well, thank you for that awesome technical assistance.
No kidding.
And thank you all for your patience and your attention. And I look forward to meeting you in person soon.
So, just wait, Miriam. One thing I wanted to tell everybody is we've got our own Leroy story that we heard on Thursday night. We had a fundraising event, and there was a mother there from Slightwood Tooth Nation over the bridge, and at our 10-year anniversary, we did a book. We did like about 10 years of success, and we had 10 superstars, which were kids, and 10 parents, and 10 funders. And one of the kids that we featured was a kid named William. And it talked about William going into grade 1, and there was Jump Frog Jump, or one of the books back then, and he already knew all about the book, and the mom said, where did you learn this? And so his mom, we hadn't planned on her speaking, but she's on band council in Slightwood Tooth, and she came with the book, and she said, I want to, first of all, she was Leonard George's niece. Do you remember Leonard George?
I do.
Who has since passed just last year, by the way. And she said, I'm Leonard George's niece, and here my son is shown in this book, and he's now finished his 3rd year of university at Queen's University, which is one of the top universities in this country. and not a normal trajectory for a child in a First Nation. So we're going to get a film of him too. And
I do have many wonderful inspirational stories, but I wanted to bring you one from a different country.
no, well, I just wanted to share this because it just happened. And so we have a woman starting from the Clinton School in this thing. And what she's going to do is, because her 20th anniversary is coming up, she's going to try and collect one story from each of those years and either do a podcast or something with it. But so any comments from anything anybody wants to say in closing to Miriam? What did you think? Why don't you want to go around the room? You want to say something? Okay.
I just want to say that it's so inspirational to have this kind of gatherings and hear the stories, how we started, and to remind us about the basics of HIPPY. To me, it was really moving to see the Dr. Lombard. I had the honor to meet her. And I remember last time I saw her, that time she was already, she was wearing the oxygen tank, yeah. But I was so inspired since the beginning when I heard her story and all the things that she created for not just for her country, but now is affecting a lot of our countries in a good way. So I said to her, I remember I said to her, you are such an inspiration to me, and when I get to when I grow up, I want to be like you. And that was how many years ago? 18 years ago.
Almost 20 years.
Yeah. So and she said to me, no, don't be like me because my brain is forgetting to breathe now. Like I forget to, when you get to my age, then you forget to breathe. and I said, well, I want to get to your age, and she's like, well, just don't forget to breathe. She was so fun, right? And be around her, and all the words that she told me. Other than that, it was so inspirational. And just seeing it today. It's just like it was moving to me, very moving. And to hear all the stories around the world, the changes that HIPPY are making, and that we are in this together, we are also making difference in other parts of the world. It's very moving and it's very inspirational. So I'm glad I'm here. Nice seeing you, Miriam.
Well, for me, the purpose in life. It has brought being involved in HIPPY has really brought a real focus and a purpose of how empowering the women. I get testimonials all the time from mothers, and they're hanging on me and then thanking me and blessing me for this great program, and I have to keep reminding them that I just delivered something. Almost to the point that sometimes it's embarrassing because it's not me. I always go back to Amoeba and say, this is who brought this program. I just came to your house and told you about it, right? Because it's just incredible in a small community like Nanaimo. In our group, we had last year 16. We counted 16, right, Debbie? Yeah. 16 different women from different countries, and how empowered they feel that, and has given them a purpose. So when it's given them a purpose, it's given me a purpose, right? It's really, and it is very emotional. I agree.
Debbie, do we want to take one from online? I see we've got a comment there. Thank you, Miriam. It was great to hear about the growth of HIPPY all around the globe, and makes me feel rewarded to work with such a wonderful program. And someone else has written there, that was from Sylvie, proud and rewarded. Didn't catch that. And maybe we can intersperse if the other sites have something to add with the people around the room.
What about you ladies? We have about 7 ladies at the back of the room. Does anyone want to add something?
I think it was it's very inspiring for us to hear all the information, how it's growing, how this program is going through all the globe. Hopefully it will reach the Middle East too. I hope it will reach Iraq or Syria, Egypt, all those countries who are under the war and very bad situation. I hope it will reach them and it will help a new generation all around the world. It's very inspiring. It shows me that everything is possible. You just need the passion and putting your steps one by one. Everything could be happy.
Yeah, as myself, I'm a new home visitor this year, so it's very inspirational, and we really are grateful for that program. I grow for myself with the program, and all the families are like move ahead. Like every time they're like telling, oh, I'm good with my reading. All the children like they're telling how did they do and how they move. So everyone is thankful for this program, and as she told, we love to spread in all the world, and it's really inspiration program. Thank you for that.
Charlene, I wondered if you wanted to say something after your first exposure to HIPPY International.
I think it was really great to learn what's happening around the world. Like I learned that there's an Asia development that I didn't know about, so that was good to know. And so thank you for sharing all that.
Thank you all.
Okay. So if I can just go and check with the screen, anything from Manna or Mead? We've got Lori on the line, Calgary. This is your chance if you want to jump in and either add a comment or put something in the chat box. We're sorry we can't share lunch with you.
Yeah, we just had wheeled in, Miriam, this from this group of Syrian refugees who have started a catering company, and they prepared our lunch. So
fantastic.
Yeah. So I think maybe we'll close with that. Thank you so much, with not much sleep, coming on and being able to do this.